All new reaction tonight as Johnston County neighbors grapple with the reality a heinous crime happened right next door. Wellington Dickens III is in jail tonight, accused of killing his 4 children months ago. Deputies say he called 911 himself to confess to the crime last night.
I killed my children. It's a lot to explain, but in a nutshell, it's all my fault.
He doesn't specifically say how or why.
Beat on them sometimes. They didn't want to eat. I didn't force them to eat. I told them that it was a punishment not to eat. I did a bunch of different little things.
But he does say why he didn't confess sooner.
I got nervous, and I didn't do it when I was supposed to, and I was being a coward.
That apparent cowardice possibly how he was able to keep the secret for 5 months.
Monday night, October 2025. A 911 operator in Johnston County picks up a call that's about to ruin her whole week. On the other end, a man, calm, collected, and ready to confess to something that's been sitting in his garage for months. I killed my children, he says, like he's ordering a pizza. 4 bodies, 1 car trunk, and a 3-year-old still alive in the house. Girl, make it make sense. Step into grave kisses where the shadows whisper, and the secrets the world tried to bury scream to be heard. This isn't just true crime. This is truth with teeth. Stories that sting. Cases that crawl under your skin. Names that refuse to stay forgotten. We don't chase headlines, we chase ghosts. Because here, every story deserves one last heartbeat. So if you're the kind who can't look away, who wants to know what really happened, who believes every story deserves its voice, this is where you belong. Hit subscribe, stay close, because the truth doesn't rest easy, and neither do we. Wellington Dickens III, Iraq War veteran, father of 5, a quiet man living on Springtooth Drive in Zebulon, North Carolina. From the street, his home looked ordinary fresh paint, trimmed hedges, a family trying to hold it together. But inside that house, something dark was festering. Wellington came back from Iraq, changed. His great-uncle would later say he'd been fighting battles in his mind ever since he got home. The kind of war that doesn't end when you leave the battlefield. The kind that follows you into your living room. And when life started piling loss on top of loss, that war took over completely. His father dies in a car crash. Just like that, gone. His wife, the mother of his children, dies suddenly at home. The obituary keeps it vague, says only that she passed peacefully. But neighbors know better. She died during childbirth, delivering their youngest son, the same 3-year-old who would later be found alive in that house while his siblings lay dead just a few feet away. His wife wasn't just his partner. Everyone said she was the family. She homeschooled the kids. She cooked. She kept everything running. Without her, there was no rhythm, no structure. When she died, Wellington was left with 5 children and no idea how to manage life without her. Deborah Riley, the neighbor next door, saw it happen in real time. He became more of a recluse, she said.
My heart just breaks for the children and for the 3-year-old that's left because he has no parents or siblings left.
Riley says Dickens had changed significantly since his wife died in childbirth last year.
Became more of a recluse, I guess maybe the appropriate word. You just never saw him outside as much. You never saw the children outside as much. He did state that his wife was more or less the backbone of the family, that she took care of the children, she homeschooled them, prepared the meals, took care of the household.
The kids, Leah, 6, Zoe, 9, Wellington the 4th, 10, and Sean Respasol, 18, the stepson. They stayed inside after their mother died. Homeschooled, hidden, out of sight. It was like the whole family vanished from the neighborhood overnight. And people noticed. They always notice when the laughter stops, when the blinds never open, when the yard goes quiet. But noticing and acting, those are 2 different things. Time passes. Spring melts into summer. Summer fades into fall. On Springtooth Drive, something feels off. Nobody can name it, but it hangs in the air like a bad dream that won't end. Cherie Burton lives on the other side of Wellington's house. She's the kind of neighbor who pays attention, and she starts to notice things. Little things. He's outside doing yard work, but it's not right. He started to leave a lot to rot from the ground up. Probably about knee-high on the ground, she said. The grass grows tall. The place looks forgotten. Then her son, Dakota, catches something she missed. The smell. Something's dead over there, he tells his mother. That smell, you know it. The one that turns your stomach and lingers in your throat. The one you can't unsmell once you've noticed it. But what do you do with that? Go knock on the door? Ask your neighbor if he's hiding a body? No, you rationalize. Maybe a raccoon died under the porch. Maybe it's the trash. So Cherie lets it go. Dakota brings it up again and again, but no one connects the dots. Not yet. Meanwhile, Deborah Riley next door is battling her own gut feeling. She hasn't seen the kids in months. No giggling, no yelling. Just silence. The kind that doesn't belong in a house full of children. But Wellington? He doesn't look dangerous. He looks broken. A widower doing his best. So Deborah gives him space. She doesn't want to pry. The way the world is, it's just not the way it used to be, where you talk to your neighbors, you check on them, she'd say later. That's something I'll regret. Girl, that regret is going to hit different once she learns what was happening 10 feet from her front porch. Because while the neighbors are blaming the smell on dead animals, Wellington Dickens is living with 4 dead children in his garage. 4. And every day, he's going about his routine like nothing happened. Feeding his 3-year-old, mowing the lawn, living a double life in plain sight. And here's the part that twists the knife. This wasn't a single outburst. It wasn't one night of madness. According to investigators, Wellington killed his children one at a time. May, June, July, September. 4 separate months, 4 deliberate acts. After each death, he carried their bodies to the trunk of his car and kept living. Make it make sense. A man kills his 6-year-old daughter, puts her in the trunk, and then goes back inside to pour cereal for his toddler, kills his 9-year-old, his 10-year-old, his 18-year-old stepson, and still keeps moving through life like it's business as usual. But that's what he did, for months. And the world only found out because one night, Wellington Dickens finally picked up the phone and confessed. Monday night, October 2025, around 10 p.m., the 911 line in Johnston County lights up. A man's voice comes through, steady, clear, almost casual, too calm for what he's about to say. It's Wellington Dickens. And the next words out of his mouth will follow that dispatcher for the rest of her life.
I killed my children.
Just like that. No build-up, no emotion, no panic. A confession dropped like a weather report. The operator freezes for half a second, trying to make sense of it. Then training kicks in. She needs details. Name, address, situation. Who, what, where? And Wellington? He answers everything. No resistance, no confusion. Just a man calmly explaining something unspeakable.
It's a lot to explain, but in a nutshell, it's all my fault.
Then he tries to soften it, to make the horror sound almost reasonable.
Eat on them sometimes. They didn't want to eat. I didn't force them to eat. I told them that it was a punishment not to eat. I did a bunch of different little...
Oh, so we're supposed to feel better now? Because he didn't use a knife? Please. He keeps talking. It started out as me over-disciplining. That's it. And leaving them out to eat. Leaving the stuff out to utilize stuff. Leaving them out to eat. That's what he calls it. Starving his own children, withholding food until they broke. And he's calling that discipline. The dispatcher asks how he did it. Like killing 4 children is something you can minimize with a few soft words. But what's more chilling? He's not confessing out of guilt. He's managing his image, trying to sound composed, rational. He talks about calling lawyers earlier, about wanting to turn himself in without it being extra. Without it being extra? Sir, you've got 4 dead kids in your trunk. It's already extra. The operator asks how old they were. He lists them off. The oldest is my stepson. He's 18. And then the other one is 10. That's my oldest son. Then I have a 9-year-old daughter. And I got a 5-year-old daughter. He's even mixing up their ages, 6, 9, 10, 18. He can't keep it straight, but he keeps going. And I have a son here now, on my bed. That's the 3-year-old, the only one still alive, sitting there in the same room while his father confesses to killing his brothers and sisters. The operator asks if anyone else is in the house. Just me and my son, he says. Just me and my son. Like it's any other Monday night. Like bedtime stories come next. She asks if he has weapons. He says no. Offers to walk out in his underwear if that's what they want. I don't know what y'all need me to do. I'm willing to do whatever you need me to do. I never had this in my life, you know. Never had this in his life. Murder, sir? Most people haven't. She asks if he's been drinking or using. He says he smoked, had a sip of champagne. That's it. So he's sober, aware, in control. Then comes the question everyone wants answered. Why? And Wellington's answer is a masterclass in delusion. It was really not up to me. Like God just influenced me. Like that's it. It wasn't me because I got nervous and I didn't do it when I was supposed to. And I was being a coward, and I just was trying to let my children. You know what I'm saying? When that was me, I was supposed to make those decisions. And it just spiraled, and it just got worse and worse and worse, and I just can't take it no more. So now it's divine influence. He's saying God told him to do it. That, killing his kids, was a mission. That he delayed, got nervous, then finally did what he was supposed to. Make it make sense. How does a man twist faith into murder? How does he convince himself that starving and beating his children is obedience? That hiding their bodies for months is somehow righteous? That one child gets to live while the others don't? I just look guilty as hell, he mutters near the end of the call. Finally, truth. The operator tells him deputies are outside. He acknowledges it, calm, composed. Okay, he says. And just like that, the line goes quiet. Wellington Dickens steps out of his house, hands raised, and walks straight into the flashing lights waiting on Springtooth Drive. Then he leads officers to the garage, where the truth is waiting in the dark. When deputies pop that trunk, they see exactly what Wellington said they would. 4 bodies, decomposed, folded into a space meant for luggage and groceries. Leah Dickens, 6 years old. Zoe Dickens, 9. Wellington Dickens IV, 10. Sean Respisol, 18. All gone. And by the time they were found, they'd been gone for months, since summer. That means Wellington had been living his life running errands, mowing the yard, tucking his toddler in at night, with death sitting 20 feet from his front door. The sheriff's office confirms what everyone fears. It didn't happen all at once. Each child was killed at a different time, different days, different reasons. Between May and September, Wellington took 4 lives, 4 separate, deliberate acts. This wasn't a man who snapped. This was methodical, cold, planned. And the whole time, the 3-year-old lived there, played with toys, ate the meals his father made, slept under the same roof, where his siblings' bodies sat rotting in a car outside. You want to talk about compartmentalization? Try killing your own child, hiding the body, and then pouring cereal for the one you chose to spare. That's not grief. That's not trauma. That's something darker, something broken beyond words. Investigators never released how the children died. No official cause of death. But Wellington admitted enough. He beat them. He starved them. He called it over-disciplining. The medical examiner had to fill in the rest. Neighbors' instincts were right all along. That smell Dakota kept mentioning, it was real. The silence Deborah noticed, real. The overgrown lawn, the closed blinds, the missing kids, every sign was screaming. Nobody knew the truth, but it was there in plain sight. Cherie Burton has to live, knowing her son was right. There was something dead next door. Deborah Riley has to live with her regret that she didn't knock, didn't check, didn't ask. And everyone on Springtooth Drive has to live with the fact that 4 children died just a few feet away and no one saw it coming. But let's be clear, this isn't on the neighbors. This is on him. Wellington Dickens made 4 choices, 1 for each child. Then he made a 5th choice to hide them, to keep living, to feed his toddler breakfast in a house that reeked of death. So when people ask, how did nobody know? The answer is simple, because he made sure nobody could. He cut those kids off from the world. No school, no friends, no teachers, no nurses. No one to notice the bruises or the silence. He built a cage of isolation around that family, and it worked. He almost got away with it. If Wellington hadn't picked up the phone that night, if he'd stayed quiet just a little longer, those kids might still be in that trunk. That 3-year-old might still be living in that house, breathing the same air as his dead siblings, never knowing the truth. But something snapped. Maybe guilt, maybe fear, maybe the weight of pretending he was still a father when he'd already destroyed his family. Whatever it was, Wellington Dickens finally broke. He called 911, and he told the truth, every word of it. Once Wellington Dickens is in custody, the real work begins. The Johnston County Sheriff's Office, the State Bureau of Investigation, and forensic teams swarm the property on Springtooth Drive. What they walk into isn't just a crime scene, it's a nightmare that's been sitting in the open for months. Investigators start with a car. The trunk. Inside are 4 bodies in varying stages of decay, stacked like discarded objects, as if they were never children at all. The medical examiner faces an impossible task: determine how they died, when it happened, and in what order. This isn't just a homicide case anymore. It's an excavation of horror. Inside the house, everything looks normal at first glance. Bunk beds, toys, a kitchen table still set for meals, but the air feels heavy. Still, it's not a home, it's a graveyard with walls. And in the middle of it all, a 3-year-old who somehow lived through it. The sheriff steps up to a podium the next day, cameras flashing, reporters quiet. He confirms what everyone already fears: Wellington Dickens killed his 3 biological children, Leah, Zoe, and Wellington IV, along with his 18-year-old stepson, Sean, each one murdered at a different time between May and September.
My personal opinion is something got to him and he was just ready to give it up, ready to turn himself in, and pretty much called and said, I'm here with my little 3-year-old son. I killed my 4 children. Their bodies are in the trunk of the car.
I'll be glad to go outside and wait for deputies. I'm not armed. I'm just ready to turn myself in. Just ready to turn himself in. Like it was an appointment he'd finally decided to keep. Like there's ever a right time to confess to killing your own kids. But the question everyone's asking, the one investigators can't answer, is why? Why did he do it? What reason could there possibly be? His great-uncle blames the war, says Wellington was never the same after Iraq, talks about trauma, PTSD, the things he saw and couldn't unsee. Then came the losses. His father's death in 2023, his wife's in 2025, one blow after another. But here's the hard truth: thousands of people carry that kind of pain. They lose parents, they lose spouses, they come home from war broken, and they don't kill their children. So yes, those things might explain the storm building inside him, but they don't justify what he did. They don't make it make sense. The reality? Wellington Dickens made choices. 4 times. He could have stopped, could have called for help, could have handed those kids to someone who would love them, feed them, protect them. But he didn't. He cut them off from the world. He hurt them. He starved them. And when they died, he hid them. And the system missed it. No social services reports, no active investigations. That 2015 misdemeanor child abuse charge? Dismissed when the victim didn't show up to court. A red flag that got ignored. Because the Dickens children didn't go to school, no one saw them regularly. No teachers noticing bruises. No counselors seeing fear. No attendance records to raise concern. They were hidden behind closed doors, invisible. And that invisibility is what let this tragedy unfold, right in the middle of suburbia without anyone realizing what was happening next door.
What's happening today? A Johnson County man is expected back in court. He's accused of killing his 3 children and his stepson.
Wellington Dickens III is charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder, 1 for each child. Here's what we know right now. Deputies say Dickens called 911 to report the murders around 10 Monday night. Investigators found 4 bodies inside the trunk of a car. Dickens' 3-year-old son was found alive in the home. The sheriff's office identified the victims as 6-year-old Leah Dickens, 9-year-old Zoe Dickens, 10-year-old Wellington Dickens, and his stepchild, 18-year-old Sean Brassfield. The children's mother died last year from natural causes, according to the sheriff.
Wellington Dickens is arrested immediately. No bail. Straight to Johnston County Jail. At first, he's hit with a single count of first-degree murder. Then, as investigators identify the bodies, 3 more charges are added, 1 for each child. 4 counts of first-degree murder. He shows up in court. Calm, silent, the same composure he had on that 911 call. No screams, no breakdowns, just a man fully aware of what he did and what's coming. The district attorney isn't giving away much publicly. The case is still being pieced together. Autopsies are underway. Evidence is being processed. But the charges speak for themselves. First-degree murder, premeditation, intent. The state believes Wellington planned every death, and considering he killed 4 children separately over months, proving premeditation isn't hard. There's no trial yet, no verdict, no sentence. Wellington sits in jail, waiting. And while he waits, the community of Johnston County is trying to understand what happened right in their own neighborhood. Neighbors are interviewed. Reporters camp on Springtooth Drive. Everyone wants answers. How could 4 children die and no one noticed until the father confessed? Deborah Riley, the neighbor, keeps coming back to the same thought. The way the world is, it's just not the way. It used to be where you talk to your neighbors, you check on them. That's something I'll regret. And maybe that's part of the answer. In another time, another place, someone would have knocked on that door. Asked questions, checked in. But it's 2025. People are busy. People mind their own business. It's easy to assume everything's fine when it's not. But don't forget, this Wellington wanted it that way. He didn't want anyone checking in. Didn't want neighbors asking questions. He built the walls. He created the isolation. And when people respected those walls, he used that privacy to commit murder. 4 children are dead. Leah, Zoe, Wellington IV, Sean. Lives stolen by the one person who should have kept them safe. And then there's the survivor, the 3-year-old, the toddler who lived in that house the entire time, spared while his siblings weren't. He's now in the custody of social services, alive, safe, but carrying a story that will follow him forever. My heart breaks for the children and for the 3-year-old that's left because he has no parents, Deborah Riley said. He has no family. And she's right. That little boy lost his mother in childbirth. Then, his father went to prison. His siblings are gone. His whole family erased in less than 2 years. What kind of life is he supposed to build from that? The Wellington Dickens case isn't just about one man's crimes. It's about what happens when people fall through the cracks, when mental health goes untreated, when isolation becomes a cage, when nobody checks in because they don't want to intrude. It's about a community that sensed something was off but didn't act. Not because they didn't care, because they didn't know just how wrong things were. It's about a system that had a chance in 2015 and failed. A system that relies on teachers, social workers, and daily eyes on children, but ignores homeschooled kids locked behind closed doors. And it's about 4 children who deserved better. A father who loved them instead of seeing them as burdens. Neighbors brave enough to ask questions. A system that didn't let them slip away unnoticed. Wellington Dickens will spend the rest of his life behind bars. That's guaranteed. But the damage? Irreversible. 4 lives gone. 1 child left to bear the weight. And a neighborhood haunted by the same question. How did we not know? Maybe the better question is this. What will we do differently next time? Because there will be a next time. There's always another family struggling behind closed doors. Another child being hurt in silence. Another neighbor who senses something but doesn't know what to do. So here's what I'll leave you with. If something feels wrong, say something. If you smell death, call someone. If a neighbor's kids disappear from view, ask questions. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't worry about intruding. Because the alternative? 4 children dead in a trunk while the world keeps turning like nothing's wrong. And that's unacceptable. Period. If this case shook you, hit that like button. Subscribe to Grave Kisses TV for more stories that expose the truth behind closed doors. Drop a comment with your thoughts. And if you or someone you know needs help, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is there 24/7 at 1-800-799-7233. Stay safe. We'll see you in the next one.